Welcome, food travelers. I'm Micah.
And I'm Simon.
We are in Seattle, headed to the Space Needle, and it's been a while since I've been to the Space Needle. I know they remodeled this, and they actually made a huge remodeling at the very top. I think on their website they actually mentioned that it's the world's first revolving glass floor.
Yeah, Micah, I'm there with you. It's one of those things where, in this homegrown episode, it's one of those city landmarks that it's always there, and for decades it's been there since I've been in Seattle. And once you kind of visit when you're younger, you just kind of not go back. But in this case, I actually was really surprised, and I was actually really happy with all the upgrades they did. It has to be at least over 10 or 15 years since I was last at the Space Needle. So this was actually a really nice surprise to come visit.
Yeah, and when we came here, or when we decided to come here, we actually made reservations online because there's this new lounge at the top. It's called the Loupe Lounge, and that was the purpose of this visit. So with this Loupe Lounge, they actually require you to make reservations in advance and also pay in advance. And with the reservation, the one we got is called Taste of Washington Weekend, which includes wine pairing, the Wagyu beef sliders, hand-cut truffle fries. And then it gives you about 90 minutes of booking time with a dedicated place to sit. And then as you saw at the beginning of the video, we actually had a different entrance from the rest of the people who are going on the elevator, because as you get this reservation, you actually go through a separate line, and then they have a different type of security check to pat you down.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting kind of way to go up. There's a dedicated elevator for you to go up to this spot, because what happens is there's actually a section that is kind of sectioned off, and that's for all those who book this lounge. And then all the other guests, they have to go through the other elevators on the other side to get up the top. And as you can see, the meals we had, we started out with the wine that was already set, and you get 2 white and 2 red wines. From reading the descriptions of each of the wine, these are local wines that they were providing, so they're going to be wines that come from the Washington state area.
Yeah, and also like coming through here, it's actually really cool. Like you can see the whole glass floor. I think that's the one thing about the lounge that's really worth it. Like it's kind of make me think of like when we went to Disneyland and you got like the fast pass and the VIP treatment, because then you don't have to stand with the crowd, and you can actually take the pictures you want to take, and you don't have a bunch of people just sitting on the floor and then you have to wait your turn to take the pictures.
Yeah, it's definitely when you step off the elevator and then you walk towards the seating, and then you don't even realize it at the beginning. I didn't realize it, at least. You look down and you didn't realize that there's just a glass all below you. So definitely, if you're afraid of heights, I don't think this would work for you. But if you don't mind it at all, it's definitely, I think, at least for one time, worth doing, because I was actually really happy that we ended up doing this.
Yeah, I agree, Simon. I think there's other towers that we went to in the past as well. And I think this is one of the coolest towers with the renovation of this tower and how they changed everything. It's just really amazing to me. I remember in the past up here there used to be a restaurant, and when I was a kid I actually came up to the restaurant for dinner. It was nice, but I mean this is a whole different experience. Everything is so much brighter now, and that Wagyu beef slider is actually pretty good. I was pretty amazed. I would think, oh, maybe it's not as good because it's just a packaged food, but it's actually really good.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there, Micah. Especially, since growing up, I've always heard like the spacing of food with the old restaurant, it was always kind of subpar. It was something that was kind of weird because, it's such a unique place to go up and eat, but the rumor around was always the food was subpar. But this was actually pretty good. Wagyu beef slider was actually very delicious, and then also it came with the garlic fries, which is pretty popular up here in the Northwest. We serve the garlic fries. If you go to any sports venues, they have those also. So it was really cool. And of course, one of the things that kind of makes going up here really great is the view itself, because you're right in downtown Seattle and it's just gorgeous, especially in the day we went, because it was, as you can see, nice and sunny, and you can look over the water, see the ferries going. And according to the server, they also said that there are quite a few drones that kind of fly up and take shots. So we added that inside the video because, of course, that day there were drones up hovering around and shooting the Space Needle as well.
Yeah, there was that drone. I was surprised to see it. I wasn't sure if it was actually something part of a Space Needle, or if it was just somebody who was just using it for their own enjoyment. And in the distance, you do see Lake Washington and also West Seattle before, and you can also see the University of Washington in the distance there. And later in the video, you also will see Bellevue and the rest of downtown Seattle skyline. And I think the view for the day that we came here was really lucky. Like, we had like the perfect weather to see everything.
And that lake that is close to us, that's Lake Union, and there used to be a lot of fireworks, and I think there still are fireworks on the 4th of July. They'll shoot it out from that lake. And in the far distance, looking towards the east, you'll have the Cascade Mountains, and you'll see you might be able to see some skyscrapers in the back, and as Micah said, that's Bellevue, Washington. And of course, you have downtown Seattle itself with all the high rises and everything around. But it's just beautiful. One of the things that I kind of wish was if there was a cruise ships that were in, but of course cruise season is over at this time of filming, so there weren't any that were parked in. But if they were, they would be parked in over here at Elliott Bay, right next to downtown Seattle itself.
Yeah, and also you might actually see some down in further distance in the beginning of the video if you did see any, and I believe that would be in the Ballard area. But in the video, you can also see the Port of Seattle and the Ferris wheel and a bunch of other stuff too. So it's really nice view. You can also see like the Smith Tower, which is a white building, and it's a really historic building. And they also have a nice lounge up there as well for visits.
And to kind of finish the meal off, they actually dropped off some macaroons for us to have. These were pretty good, and of course with the frozen dry ice, it adds a little extra effect. And of course they were nice enough to let us grab the cameras and get everything ready and set while they poured it in and get this beautiful shot of the desserts.
And this macaroon, I don't think it's part of the package. Maybe it was, but when I made the reservation for it, I actually didn't see this as listed as part of the package. Maybe it was like a special thing that they were offering that day and they decided to give it to everybody. But I wouldn't expect it if you do end up coming here. But I think they're pretty good for what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. It definitely wasn't expected, because we kind of went over the menu of what they were offering, and there was no mention of macaroons to finish off the meal. But I can't complain if they're gonna bring it over and give us macaroons. Of course, I will happily eat them.
Yeah, I was happy eating them. Like when I first saw the server coming out with some macaroons and the dry ice, I was like, oh, we should film this. It looks so cool. And then she was bringing it right to our table. I was like, wow, okay, this is nice.
A very good surprise on our end. So definitely, we can't say that it's going to happen, but hopefully if you do book it and you go up, it does, and you'll get the macaroons as well. But one of the things that they let you do is after the meal, you're actually allowed to go upstairs to the upper deck, observation deck, and you can actually walk around and continue to kind of see everything and take your time to look around and kind of explore more of the city as you look for each of the views that you want to look at.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting too. So there is a outdoor deck, and then also the upper level with the cafe and bar section as well. And there are signs where it does mention that if you do buy alcohol, you can't take it below. So that is something to be aware of if you do buy some of that. And also, like, I remember in the past, the outdoor observation deck, it used to not be enclosed. It used to be really, really windy at the top. But now with the glass and everything, it's actually much more enjoyable, because then you don't have the wind blowing in your face or in your hair.
Yeah, they definitely tried to make it so observing things was just a much better experience than what it was before. And one of the things I thought was actually kind of cool was, as you'll see through the video, there are these benches that are sitting there, and all the benches, they actually tilt it a little backwards. So if you were actually sit flat on them, you would actually be leaning back towards the glass itself, almost kind of like you're falling down. So if you want to take these shots that kind of look like you're falling off the Space Needle itself, you can. I thought that was interesting.
And it's also very interesting to see the track of the glass moving. Like, as you see, like, we're trying to record ourselves walking on the glass, and it's just kind of cool to see the mechanics of it. And I think one of the best things is the elevator ride itself. You can see the view as you go up and as you go down as well, up to 500 feet, and it's just really nice.
And to wrap up the episode are our notables, and unfortunately for this episode, we did not have any notables. If you've enjoyed the content you've seen, don't forget to support the channel and hit like and subscribe. And if you want to see additional pictures of food and our travels, go over to our Instagram page and follow us there. And thanks for watching.